Hello there, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by for your daily Reiki micro session. This is a micro session because it's only 5 minutes long, and a normal session with me does last an hour. So, this is just a tiny little snippet of Reiki to kind of get you just exposed to it and to see what you think of it. So, Reiki is good for a lot of different things. It does help us out with physical problems, concerns, especially where the doctors kind of don't have the answers. Reiki is really great to pick that up. But even where the doctors do have the answers, Reiki can speed the healing. Reiki is also good to help in financial situations, emotional situations, relationship situations, emotional and psychological. So there's lots of different things that Reiki can do to help us. I'm setting the intention today for whatever is for your highest and best good for each of you who are watching this video as individuals. If you have something more specific that you would like the Reiki to focus on, feel free to go ahead and adjust that intention for yourself. And so after we do Reiki, then we'll have time for questions where I open up the tarot and use my psychic abilities to answer some questions for you. But for right now, let's just go ahead and get this Reiki started. All right, so we're starting at 8 after the hour. That means we'll finish up at 13 after the hour. If anybody here has any questions about Reiki, this would be a great time to ask those. I'd love to answer questions about Reiki, and this just seems like the most appropriate time to do that. Four more minutes left on the Reiki. Three more minutes left on the Reiki. It's a quiet room today. Two more minutes left on the Reiki. One more minute left of the Reiki. If any of you have questions about Reiki, this is a great time to ask those. I'm happy to answer questions. Nobody has any questions about Reiki. All right then. I'm not used to that. All right, let's go ahead and wrap the Reiki up. All right. And so now it's time for our questions. So if you guys have a question you'd like me to answer, feel free to throw it into the chat. I'm going to set my timer and grab my tarot deck, and then I'll answer any questions that you throw into the chat for me. I don't think it's going to take me 5 minutes to do that, considering we've only got, what, 2 people in chat? Ezra, welcome. Glad to see you back. I'm fantastic, my dear. We just finished up the Reiki. Do you have any questions for me? So Ezra, looks like you have a situation where you're having trouble with somebody in your family or somebody in your close tribe, maybe even with family or tribe not getting along. And the reason this is happening is because there's somebody here who's missing out on some kind of information. They don't really understand what's actually happening. So they only have a partial perspective on things. And this is making that person feel really vulnerable. And I think this person is showing up so much in your spread here because they have an influence on how you feel and on your life. What's been happening with this situation in the past is that you're really having a hard time helping this person understand. And I think you're trying to help them understand that they're not threatened in any way by what's going on at work or by what's going on at home, whichever way your situation is going here. Hello there, LRKK. You're so overmoving. Coming up, I do see that this is going to be a little bit of a struggle for you still going forward, Ezra. Part of that is because this whole situation has you feeling like your security is all messed up, your foundation is all messed up. What makes you feel secure is kind of upside down right now. Outside influences, this has to do with somebody that you really like or somebody that you care about a lot. And that's actually impacting how you're reacting with this situation. This is really, you're afraid that this is actually going to end up costing you money or costing you abundance in some way in the long term. But how it's going to actually work out, isn't this interesting? It's a challenge, is that you're going to start feeling more fulfilled and more satisfying. So this is going to have you going in a direction that brings that fulfillment or satisfaction to you. So I think you're going to find a way to get some peace going on around you. You feel that energy, but you're not able to know the person. I think if you don't know that person right now, what I'm hearing is it will be made very clear to you soon. I think the upshot of this whole spread really comes down to the point, Ezra, that sometimes things that come off as challenges provide us opportunities that we weren't really reaching for before. And I think that's why you end up feeling more fulfilled and more satisfied after all this gets sorted and after it's over, even though it's really unsettling, excuse me, in the beginning. Shakoya, hello, hello, welcome. Anybody else have a question for me today? I didn't actually answer Ezra's question because I got started on that spread before Ezra asked, but I hope you find that helpful anyway. I was just like, well, I'm going to put down some cards. Even if nobody asks a question, I'm putting down some cards. We're doing some work here today. But I think you'll know who that question is by the end of the day, Ezra. Why is this off and on with Marcus? You must be really hooked on him. Okay. Did Marcus really mean that he loves Shakoya whenever he said that to her for the first time? This is going to be the last question I ask and look at. Well, I'm going to tell you what I think is going on here. Is that I feel like he meant it, yes. I feel like you have expectations that go with those words that he did not mean. So for him, yes, he meant it. What you expect from somebody after they say that to you is not what he is expecting to step into. You know what I mean? So some of us, we hear those little words and then all of a sudden all these expectations build like this grand castle in the sky. And the poor person on the other end that just said these words is like, I just said some words that talk about how I feel right here in this moment. I didn't know that they were attached to this huge castle in the sky thing that's going on now. That's what we have happening here. You're quite welcome, Ezra. Thank you, LRKK. I appreciate that. So Shakoya, I hope that makes sense to you and that gives you a different perspective so that you can, you know, how to take when he says things like that. Take them in the moment. They are very much in the moment truth. There's no guarantee of anything in the future. They're just in the moment. This is how I feel. LRKK, I didn't realize you had another question with your last statement. I don't know what I said before. I don't want to ask the same question that I asked before because that will definitely mess us up. But if you have a different question about a move, what can Spirit tell LRKK? What can you guys tell LRKK about a move that could be happening for her by the end of April? We're going to put a time frame on it so that I know kind of when I'm looking at whatever comes up. La da 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 da, la da 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 da. Well, you actually have a decision to make whenever it comes to this move, LRKK, and you're not there yet. That's interesting to me. Let's see. It looks to me like you feel like you're kind of getting financially raped where you are, like you're having to pay way more than what you want to pay or that you feel like you should have to pay. I do think that you're going to be hearing within the next week or two, I think you're going to be hearing about a place that you're going to feel like, okay, I like that place better. That's when you're going to have to make that decision. Are you going to make the move or are you going to keep the status quo? I do think you're going to end up moving, and that's going to be probably from the middle, it'll be the last half of April, from the middle of April to the third quarter of April is when I think you're, actually going to make that move. There's going to be loose ends to tie up afterwards, though, and I think you're going to still be handling that by the end of April. That's what I've got. That's what I've got, my dear. I don't know what I told you before because I don't remember these things from day to day usually. So, sorry I skipped over you the first time. I didn't realize you were asking a question. Anyway, that's what we're going to do here today. I'm fixing to take off. Thank you very much for being here and spending some of your time with me. Thank you for those thumbs ups. I do appreciate them. Thank you also for sharing this video with others who may benefit from the Reiki. And thank you to those of you who are ordering private readings and also who are donating super chats whenever you guys get around to donating super chats. I appreciate that as well. And also those of you who are ordering Reiki sessions. It is because of all of you guys that I get to do what I love for my living. So thank you very much. Everyone have a fantastic day. And if I don't see you here for a private before then I will see you back here on the next video. Peace out.